Rama Rama Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare. He who brought the treasure of divine love and was filled with compassion and mercy, where is such a personality as Srinivasacharya Nan? Where are my Swarup Damodar and Rupa Goswami? Where is Sanatan? Where is Raghunath Das, the savior of the fallen? Where are my Raghunath Bhatta and Gopal Bhatta? And where is Krishna Das Kaviraj? Where did Lord Gauranga, the great dancer, suddenly go? I will smash my head against the rock and enter into fire. Where will I find Lord Gauranga, the reservoir of all wonderful qualities? Being unable to obtain the association of Lord Gauranga, accompanied by all of these devotees, in whose association he performed his pastimes, Narottam Das simply weeps. Jai Om Vishnu Pad Paramahamsa Privajakacharya Astodartha Sri Srimad His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktisiddhanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnu Pad Paramahamsa Privajakacharya Astodartha Sri Srimad Nitya Leela Pravista His Divine Grace Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Radha Krishna Go Gopinath Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Navadvip Mayapur Dham Ki Jai. Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai. Ganga Mai Ki Jai, Yamuna Mai Ki Jai, Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Tulsi Devi Ki Jai, Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees. Gaur Premanandi. So His Divine Grace, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, in his own right, is a great towering figure of Gaudiya Vaishnavism, an extraordinary personality. And as it is true in all times and places in the disciplic succession, our relationship with the predecessor acharyas, the previous spiritual masters, is through our current spiritual master. Srila Prabhupada writes in the second canto, in regards to Lord Brahma being directly instructed by Lord Krishna himself. And that instruction was in the form of hearing Krishna's flute song, and in which time that Lord Brahma became so much enlightened and inspired that he contributed the greatly exalted Brahma Samhita. So Prabhupada says, one cannot expect to have the same facility as Lord Brahma to be directly initiated by Lord Krishna, but one can get the same benefit by approaching the current link in the Sampradaya. And as we were hearing in the post-Mangalartik presentation of Srila Prabhupada in regards to the importance of preaching and book distribution, the excerpt from Prabhupada's conclusion to the writing of Chaitanya Charitamrita, which was in Ekadasi, the Rama Ekadasi day, the second Ekadasi of the month of Kartik in Bombay in 1974, that if one accepts the order of the spiritual master, then one is always connected with him, and one conquers over the sorrow that affects common people who are attached to identifying others, and what to speak of their loved ones, next of kin, etc., as their body. And when the body disappears, dies, then there's great lamentation. So the lamentation in separation from the devotees, particularly the spiritual master, is not at all on the mundane level, but it is based upon true and genuine love for that pure devotee. And even though seemingly disappeared from our mortal vision, they're very much present in their instructions. So Srila Prabhupada, he bore the separation of his spiritual master for many, many, many decades, and then trying to execute the order of his spiritual master to turn himself into a very good English preacher and to impress upon those not conversant with the language of the already established members, that means Indian languages. And this will do much good to you and to those who will help you. And of course, English being the world language, we can say that Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati didn't directly say to Srila Prabhupada to preach to everyone in the entire world in all the languages, but that seed direction, preach to those not conversant with the language of the already established members, that means everybody else. So Srila Prabhupada very much wanted his centers of Krishna consciousness all over the world, in all the countries, and that every language and dialect that is there in the world, that his books be translated and published and distributed profusely. And even upon the circumstances that brought Srila Prabhupada back to India in 1970, this is just after establishing what he considered to be the world headquarters, or at least or the Western world headquarters of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, 3764 Watsika Avenue or Boulevard, Los Angeles, California. And in some internal dialogue, or even, as Srila Prabhupada said, argument with Krishna, the deity of Krishna in Los Angeles, that my spiritual master gave me the Western world for preaching, and my godbrothers, my spiritual master, left India as their preaching field. So why is it the need for me to go back? But anyway, Krishna wanted Srila Prabhupada to go back to India, and he completely revived the Krishna consciousness of India, which is rolling like like an avalanche, gaining power more and more as the years and decades go by, seemingly after our Srila Prabhupada's departure. So you execute the order of the spiritual master, and then your own desires for Krishna consciousness, along with the continued instruction of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, of the spiritual master, goes on continuously. Srila Prabhupada was criticized one time by his contemporary godbrothers coming to Mayapur that why he did not stop on way to the ISKCON land, which you have to go past the original Sri Chaitanya Math established by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, where his samadhi is established, and also the samadhi of Gorkishore Das Babaji Maharaj. And Prabhupada's reply to this, to his disciples, was they think that I need to physically come to establish, to prove my relationship. I'm never separated from my spiritual master, even for a moment. So Prabhupada had said in that concluding words of the Chaitanya Charitamrita that this international society for Krishna consciousness has been established to fulfill the desire of Om Vishnu Pad Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So such an extraordinary personality as our founder Acharya, and his relationship with such an extraordinary personality as Srila Bhaktisiddhanta is so, I can't even think of the proper words to say, so complete and so awe-inspiring and super exalted that our entire existence in this Krishna consciousness movement. What to speak of us, here we are today, but for all who come forward in the next, as Srila Prabhupada said, 10,000 years of the golden age of Lord Chaitanya, this relationship is of such utmost importance and the most beautiful thing that you can find in this world. So no glorification or discussion of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta is complete without simultaneously understanding the relationship with his foremost disciple, His Divine Grace, our Srila Prabhupada. So I've chosen a number of things to look at, and in regard to the what I just described, I would like to look at Srila Prabhupada's speaking on this very day, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta's Disappearance Day. Actually, I've seen it credited to be December 9th, 1968, and also December 9th, 1969. Maybe Maharaj could clarify if it, but in the midst of this, Prabhupada says that he mentioned something that he's seen in London, which if that was true, then Prabhupada was there 3 months earlier. But if it's December 9th, Prabhupada, I believe, left London after establishing Shishi Radha London Ishvar. I believe the date was December 14th, 1969. Anyway, so it's a very emotional talk. You can listen to it if you have the Everything Prabhupada Complete. You go to where it says festivals, and you look up Los Angeles, and you'll see this Disappearance Day of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. He describes, who was it? The sadhu is blessing 4 types of persons: the prince, the yogi, brahmachari, ascetic, the butcher, and finally the devotee. So the prince, may you live forever. The yogi, brahmachari, ascetic, may you die immediately. And the butcher, neither live nor die. And the devotee, either live or die as you like. It is your choice, because it is the same. So the prince, he's enjoying unlimited sense gratification, sex life, intoxication. He's enjoying now, but where he'll be in his next life. So better, before going to hellish life, you should live as long as possible. The yogi, ascetic, brahmachari, doing so much penance and austerity to achieve the higher planets or liberation. Better you die immediately and achieve the result of your long penance and austerity. No need for you to suffer more in this way. And in the butcher, your life is just so hellish, killing so many animals, the ghastly scene. And after death, Prabhupada goes, oh, no one can even imagine the hellish suffering. So neither live nor die. But the devotee, he is back home, back to Godhead now, and after he leaves his body, there's absolutely no difference. By your own will and desire, either live or die. So Srila Prabhupada is glorifying his spiritual master. Krishna has sent him into this world to preach on his behalf, and now it's required for him to go and preach again in another place. There is no lamentation whatsoever. And then Srila Prabhupada goes on to describe the extraordinary qualities of his spiritual master, which were visible right from the time of his birth. He's the son of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, who himself is a great Mahabhagavat, and we see here he is a link in our Sampradaya, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, Srila Gaurkishore Das Babaji, Om Vishnupad Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur. He was the district magistrate in charge of the Jagannath Puri temple. That was the system, that the the highest judge in the district, also took charge of the affairs of the Jagannath temple. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati is born in February 1874, and Rath Yatra is like June, July, so some 4 to 4.5 months later, an infant under the care of his mother, and brought before the cart of Lord Jagannath, and the cart stops in front of Bhaktivinoda Thakur's house, which is on the Grand Road where the Rath Yatra takes place. And it was seen by all that this was a direct blessing from the Lord. And also previously, he was born with the umbilical cord wrapped around his neck, extraordinarily, just like a Brahmin wears a Brahmin thread. And then at the age of 3 or 4 years old, he inadvertently took a mango from the kitchen, not realizing or being absent-minded that this was the stock of the deity's bhoga, and it was not yet duly offered. And Srila Prabhupada describes how Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur mildly rebuked, "Oh, this is to be offered to the deity. You should not have taken it. This is an offense." And the child took it so seriously that he made a vow that never again, for the entirety of his life, would he take mango. We would offer him mango. He's like in his 50s, 60s. He's like, and he said, "No, I cannot take. I am an offender from my childhood." And Prabhupada said, this is the symptom of an acharya. There's no offense, but to teach by example how strict and how determined one must be. He sets this example. Then he describes how his godbrother, Obiel Kapoor, and his wife, and he himself were, and maybe others were taking darshan of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, and they were all very young, men and women at the time. And the young lady proposes that she wants to speak to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. And Srila Bhakti, yes, whatever you like, you can speak. And said, "No, I want to speak with you in a secret or solitary place." And he means, "No, I cannot do that. Whatever you want to speak, you speak here in front of all my disciples." So Srila Prabhupada says that by age calculation, this young lady was young enough to be his granddaughter, but he refused to speak with a woman in a solitary place. So Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he wanted to preach in the West, and he sent his book, Lord Chaitanya, His Life and Precepts, to McGill University in 1896, which happened to be the year of my birth. Pradyumna later, when he was in Montreal, found this book in the library and brought it before Srila Prabhupada. This is like 1968, and Srila Prabhupada was overwhelmingly pleased. I was born in a different family. My Guru Maharaj was born in a different family. Who knew that I would come to his protection? Who knew that I would come to America? Who knew that you American boys will come to me? These are all Krishna's arrangements. We cannot understand how these things are taking place. And of course, the very wonderful and transcendently humorous story how in 1922, Srila Prabhupada was 25 years old. His friend, Narendranath Malik, you're in the same compound, the Malik compound, where Srila Prabhupada grew up and where the deities of Radha Govind, Harrison Road, Calcutta. So I have met an amazing sadhu, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. I want you, my dear friend Abhay, to meet him. We want you to give us your opinion. I've seen all these sadhus. I don't need to meet another. No, this one's different. And you have to practically drag Srila Prabhupada, grab him, but no, you have to come. And so reluctantly he went, and then immediately upon meeting the revered form, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, just by Indian, what to speak of Bengali physical statures, was extraordinary. Fair skinned, very tall, 6'1" tall, and of course, as a Nitya Siddha Parikar, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he's praying the Lord Chaitanya, it is, your teachings have much depreciated. So much Mayavad Sahaja influence over so many centuries since the departure of Lord Chaitanya and his immediate disciples. It's not within my power alone to restore them. You must send me someone from your personal staff. And that is Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. In 1936, today, 9th December, 1968. That means 32 years ago in Bombay, I was doing some business. All of a sudden, perhaps on this date, sometimes between 9th or 10th December, at that time Guru Maharaj was indisposed a little, and he was staying at Jagannath Puri on the seashore. So I wrote him a letter. My dear master, your other disciples, brahmachari, sannyasi, they are rendering you direct service. I'm a householder. I cannot live with you. I cannot serve you nicely. So I do not know how I can serve you. Simply an idea. I was thinking of serving him. How can I serve him seriously? So the reply was dated 13th December, 1936. In that letter, he wrote me, my dear such and such, I'm very glad to receive your letter. I think you should try to push our movement in English. That was his writing. And that will do good to you and to the people who will help you. So the conclusion of the chapter, a very nice saintly person, in Lifetime in Preparation, Volume 1, the Prabhupada Leelamrita, written by Satsvarup Das Goswami. Srila Prabhupada immediately recognized this to be the very first instruction. So even before getting up from offering obeisances, what to speak of being able to have enough time to get a comprehensive, what is it? The first impression is the most important because you'll never get another chance to make the first impression. And Srila Prabhupada, imagine you go to Scottish churches, imagine, okay, you go to NYU, or no, even better, Columbia, or any big Ivy League school, pay all the money, all the tuition, and just go do everything, get the degree and report for graduation to receive your diploma. Gandhi, renounce everything British. He rose to the call, and he didn't appear. He gave up his diploma, believing in this. Indian independence is the most important thing. It was saying that Indian independence is the cause of the people, and that cause is God himself. That was their thinking. And all the intelligent people of India and even world leaders, the imperial subjugation of the British, other countries under the British rule, feeling and thinking the same thing. I mean, we felt that here in America in 1776. This doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who rules. Krishna consciousness is so important, so exclusively important, that it can't wait for any political change. He was so much struck with Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, his arguments defeated. Whatever logic he could was just crunched under the weight of the purity and intellect of this great personality, and immediately understood, I've met my eternal spiritual master. I accepted him as my spiritual master immediately, not officially, but within my heart. For 2 hours, until everything is kind of like closed and shut down, and it's time for them to go home. So his friend asks Narendranath Malik, his 25-year-old friend, Abhay Charan at the time, What did you think? He's wonderful. Met a very great saintly person. Immediately switched allegiance. That is the power of such an incredible personality. Completely redirect our life. Not by like you become a robot and I'm forced. I don't know why I'm doing this. Like Tosan Krishna, he tells the story of the last hurdle to get to New York Rath Yatra. He goes down to One Police Plaza, which is near, kind of near where we do, no, it's further north, near Fulton Street. And the man is saying, I don't know why I'm signing this, but not like that, you know, or somebody takes a book and, or like, you know, temporarily, but no, for then, for now, and forever. But I took that order of my spiritual master very seriously. I was at that time a householder. This is the arrangement of Krishna. If we strictly try to serve the spiritual master, his order, then Krishna will give us all facilities. That is the secret. His spiritual master, he was not an insider in his spiritual master's organization. Even there was some like, if not overt, but subtle criticism. He's a grihasta, rotten grihasta. Even though he was doing so many wonderful things, he was recognized by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. Srila Prabhupada said, I met him maybe only 10 or 12 times. And then his spiritual master's organization practically immediately after his disappearance splintered and fragmented due to infighting, difference of opinion, and unwarranted and even illegal personal ambition. Then on top of that, the British Empire dragged India into World War II. Then the so-called looked after and fought for so many decades Indian independence came about, which resulted in one of the greatest mass murders in human history, the partition of India and Pakistan. Then the first leaders of India, not in favor of religion and encouraging the natural piety of the Indian population, tried to industrialize and so-called modernize India. It made preaching and convincing the population of India, and Srila Prabhupada, following the example of his spiritual master, trying to approach the leaders and intelligentsia and the wealthy. Prabhupada struggled so much. And then what to speak of the non-cooperation of his family. Prabhupada had a completed 1,200-page manuscript of the Bhagavad Gita in the 1940s, and there was a publisher. It was stolen from his house. Couldn't prove anyone, but he suspected his servant did it. And then later, which was the final straw for Srila Prabhupada, that his wife took his worshipful Bhagavatam to the market and bartered it away for tea biscuits. His business failed. He was poverty-stricken. Where is the facility? All facility will be given to you. But he simply persevered. Ultimately, taking shelter in Vrindavan. And he actually, before he tried to start the forerunner of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, in a place where people seemingly were friendly and favorable, Jhansi, which I believe is in Uttar Pradesh. Not a, huh? Madhya Pradesh, okay. All right. And then politics and intrigue drove Srila Prabhupada away after he put so much time and energy into that. What a setback. Then ultimately, with great struggle, sometimes even going without a proper meal or even proper clothing to save money on transportation to get 1, 2, 3 volumes of the first canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. But you always felt his spiritual master's presence. In one of Prabhupada's discussion on Srila Bhaktisiddhanta's appearance and disappearance day, and Yadubar and Vishaka included it in their movie. Prabhupada said, when I completed the 3rd volume of the first canto, Guru Maharaj said, now you go to America. Prabhupada made no analyzation of what was going on here in America, how there was a Vietnam War and there was a huge youth cultural shift, revolution, how favorability and inclination and strong curiosity amongst the young people for Eastern mysticism, religion, and spirituality. No idea. A Mayavadi acquaintance allowed him to stay in his penthouse apartment, 33 Riverside Drive. Leelamrita says, when it became inconvenient, what is a penthouse? It's got many rooms. Some of these big New York places, multi-floors. When it became inconvenient, that means there was Prabhupada and him were at loggerheads over impersonal and pure devotional service philosophy. He moved him to a windowless yoga studio. 4 Avenue, West End Avenue, Amsterdam Avenue, 3 avenue blocks and 3 regular blocks north in the beginning of November of the coldest and snowiest winter, practically speaking, on record, since records have been kept from the late 1800s. Not even think, okay, we'll get Prabhupada, I'll arrange, he was a rich man, arrange my guest to have a taxi. No, Prabhupada had to walk back and forth. Anyway, an amazing story. And then at the right time, all facility. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, at the last Gaur festival in March 1936 that he officiated over, attended, addressing the whole Gaudiya Math and many pilgrims, followers, disciples. He looked at our Srila Prabhupada, who was not sitting in the front with all the leaders, sannyasis, and brahmacharis, sitting off to the side. He was speaking about the need to preach in the West. Imagine India in 1936 sending people to London and paying for it from India. People come to America to pay for things in India, right? Driving that taxi, working in the sweatshop, the restaurant, and sending the money on the Western Union or whatever back to the village in India, right? The opposite. Nothing much was accomplished. Still was burning in his heart. And then he saw our Srila Prabhupada, and there was a pregnant and very palpable silence. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta then began to speak and announce, but I have a prediction. No matter how far or long into the future it might be, one of my disciples will cross the ocean and bring back the entire world. If we strictly try to serve the spiritual master, his order, then Krishna will give us all facilities. This is the secret. Although there was no possibility, I never thought, but I took it a little seriously by studying a commentary by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur on the Bhagavad Gita. Everyone knows the verse, Bhagavad Gita 2:41. Vyavasyatmika buddhir ekeha kurunandana. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur gives his commentary that we should take up the words from the spiritual master as our life and soul. We should try to carry out that instruction, the specific instruction of the spiritual master, very rigidly, without caring for our personal benefit or loss. So I tried a little bit in that spirit. Very triumphant appearance day of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta in the beginning of March 1975 in New Panihati Mandir, Atlanta, Georgia. The whole Radha Damodar party is there. Uh, the science devotees are there. The library party is there. So many devotees from all of Maharaj. Were you there? Atlanta in 1975? Okay. And he's saying similar. I said, like, what could I possibly accomplish? But anyway, let me try. And all the devotees just laughed and roared in appreciation. Jai Srila Prabhupada. He's taken shelter at the lotus feet of his spiritual master and Lord Krishna, and has hence become an ocean of transcendental mercy. So I tried a little bit in that spirit. He has given me all facilities to serve him. Things have come to this stage in this old age. I have come to your country, and you are making this movement, taking this movement seriously, trying to understand it. We have got some books now, so there is a little foothold of this movement. Now, on this occasion of my spiritual master's departure, as I am trying to execute his will, similarly, I shall also request you to execute the same order through me, through my will. I am an old man. I can pass away at any moment. That is nature's law. Nobody can check it. So that is not very astonishing. But my appeal to you on this auspicious day, the departure of my Guru Maharaj, that at least to some extent you have understood the essence of the Krishna consciousness movement. You should try to push it on. People are suffering from want of this consciousness. Please, this Krishna consciousness movement is authorized and very important. Now, you American boys and girls, you have taken this movement. Please take it more seriously, and that is the mission of Lord Chaitanya and my Guru Maharaj. And we are also trying to execute the will of the disciplic succession. You have come forward to help me. I request you all that I shall go away, but you shall live. Don't give up pushing this movement, and you will be blessed by Lord Chaitanya and his divine grace, Bhaktisiddhanta, Saraswati, Goswami, Prabhupada. Thank you very much. So, because there's no prasadam today, at breakfast, there will be later. I will keep going, but I'd first like to ask Maharaj, would you like to contribute something at this time, or should I keep going and maybe? Okay. Bhakti Vikas Maharaj, in 2009, completed what he had been working on for many, many years, a very wonderful, thorough, and powerful presentation of the glories of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati in 3 volumes. And this is a particular chapter that I always find very awe-inspiring and striking. And this will give us a very good insight into the towering, powerful personality of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. This is called the Revolutionary Preacher of Truth. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur inherited the urge to preach from his father and mentor, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Energized by the Thakur's vision of Shuddha Bhakti diffusing through the globe, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta had an unrelenting drive to deliver Shuddha Bhakti to all jivas in the universe and even to those beyond it. He wanted to capture the whole territory of Maya and convert it to Krishna consciousness. He could not tolerate that there be any place devoid of Krishna Bhakti. Not restricted within the cultural horizon of Bengal, he wanted to annihilate misconceptions at all levels in all cultures of human society and implement full-fledged theism everywhere. Even though seemingly impossible, he took it as his duty to spread Shuddha Bhakti by all means and at any cost. To establish Lord Chaitanya's mission, the fetters of caste, ritual, and indeed all pre-existing stereotypes and dogmas would have to be demolished. Hence, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati inevitably became a revolutionary. Let's keep in mind Narada Muni's instruction to Srila Vyasadeva. On the other hand, that literature, which is full of the name, fame, form, qualities, and pastimes of the unlimited Supreme Lord, is a different creation meant to bring about a revolution in the lives of this world's misdirected civilization. His efforts were concentrated in a Bengal where Gaudiya Vaishnavism had lost its original dynamism, and from the ethological perspective had transmuted into yet another component of the vast heterogeneous mosaic known as Hinduism. Although widespread, Vaishnav Dharma was enveloped by a thick fog of nescience, having become synonymous with artificial shows of ecstasy, mantras imparted for money, flesh-eating devotees, cheaters competing to be lauded as avatars, Siddha Pranali, initiation for the asking, and descriptions of the amorous pastimes of Sri Sri Radha and Krishna bantied about like cheap market gossip. So we see how Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, our Srila Prabhupada, following the instruction and order of Lord Chaitanya, was very, very reticent to speak about the higher affairs of Krishna with his eternal associates in Goloka Vrindavan, and especially his conjugal leelas with Srimati Radharani and the Gopis. So we should very seriously and loyally follow in that same mood. So that those who are certainly not qualified exploit or, let's say, use or as an use as an excuse the higher topics to substantiate their own debauchery. In this way, Prakriti Sahajiyas had etiolated the movement of Lord Chaitanya into a foolish and immoral travesty of Vaishnav Dharma. Srila Saraswati Thakur had to reestablish the genuine parampara, which had all but vanished. To purge the Gaudiya lineage of impurities, he publicly decried ecclesiastical and social conventions that were suffocating Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's sampradaya. Animated with the heroic spirit of Hanuman in opposing Ravana, Srila Saraswati Thakur committed himself to a lifetime of struggle against the beneficiaries of the rotten status quo. Preaching meant fighting. Although Indian society had traditionally been deeply religious, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati insisted that mere theocentricity was not sufficient. Thus, he openly criticized beliefs and practices held sacred by most Hindus, such as impersonalism and demigod worship. With unfaltering determination, he uninhibitedly cudgeled various misinterpretations of Vaishnav Dharma, business in the name of religion, casteism, atheism, Western cultural chauvinism, sensualism posing as spirituality, and innumerable forms of opinionative and deviant philosophies, whatever fell short of pure devotion to Krishna. This was in accord with the intrinsic purport of Srimad Bhagavatam, which singularly among scriptures established the topmost understanding of the Supreme Lord and the individual soul's relationship with him, and expounded Dharma Prahojita Kaitava, complete rejection of religious principles that are selfishly motivated. Holding that every word of Srimad Bhagavatam outweighs any other opinion, past, present, or future,
Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati likened all religious process, save that given in Bhagavatam, to jars of poison with a little milk floating on top and composed a distich. How does it say? Distich, Distich, based on Bhagavatam's rejection of motivated religious practices. Bhagavatam states that whatever in the world is passing as dharma is actually wholesale deception. Srila Saraswati Thakur lived for truth and, like a valiant warrior, never hesitated to attack the myriad manifestations of falsity, personifying the spirit of Srimad Bhagavatam by insisting that the highest truth is reality distinguished from illusion for the welfare of all. He effectively sifted out the real from the unreal, the servant of the real from the servant of the unreal, the Vaishnava from the non-Vaishnava. He never countenanced the slightest deviation from the truth, not even by the most eminent of nearest and dearest persons, and would detect, expose, and dissect even the subtlest presence of fallacy in theories and statements that to others appeared entirely plausible. He held that all prevalent so-called truths point only to a limited ideal formulated by subjective projection, and thus are actually untruths and impasses in realizing the truth. He exhorted, so the following is directly Srila Bhaktisiddhanta words. Do not try to discover the nature of truth by the exercise of your imagination. Do not endeavor to attain the truth through experience of this world. Do not manufacture truth in order to satisfy your erring inclinations, or hastily accept anything for the reason that it satisfies such inclinations. Do not regard as truth anything that has been built up or has the support of a majority of people like yourself, nor as untruth anything that is rejected by the overwhelming majority. According to the scriptures, there will be found hardly one in a crore of human beings who really worships the truth. What is proclaimed by the united voices of all the people of this world as truth may turn out to be false. Therefore, cease to confront the truth in a challenging mood. The truth is not brought into existence by such arrogance. One has to approach the truth in the spirit of absolute submission. It is necessary to learn. It is necessary to listen to truth. Truth is self-revealing, and only when it is pleased to reveal itself can its actual nature be known to us, and not otherwise. He continued, everyone is eager for adoration by others, not for the absolute truth. Those who make a show of being preachers do not disturb mankind, but rather maintain everyone's present mentality while busily protecting their own existence. Therefore, there is no propagation of truth, since one's popularity is not served by speaking or hearing the truth. Pure items are rare and not easily attainable, and so are not much appreciated. Similarly, there is no respect for those who do not misguide people, but are busy trying through Sankirtan and Harikatha to turn them toward the Lord. At present, it is fashionable to be cheated by those who, in the name of Dharma, misguide people. Real devotees do not speak to satisfy their audiences. They do not cheat people. Rather, pure devotees reveal the defects of cheaters who love to compromise. Only fortunate persons learn to be cautious after hearing the words of saints. Although the words of genuine devotees may appear to contradict our present taste and experience, nonetheless, they are the most auspicious for us. Should I keep going? Hence, a major focus of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta's preaching was to expose cheating in all forms, especially in the spheres of philosophy and religious practice. He denounced as hypocritical all varieties of religion practiced without the intention of surrendering to Krishna, such as those meant to improve moral, social, or intellectual life, or promote a irenic ambience conducive to genteel sense gratification in this world, those aimed at enjoying enhanced sensual delights in a future birth, and even those aspiring for spiritual liberation, but devoid of devotion to Krishna. He presented religion not as a palliative for the pangs of material existence, but as the required alternative to it. He was not interested in becoming famous or respected, in merely creating a good impression, or becoming a religious icon. He preached to establish Gaudiya Siddhanta, to uphold the dignity of the authentic Gaudiya Sampradaya, and to convince others of the overwhelming necessity of accepting Krishna Bhakti. Srila Saraswati Thakur refused to be molded by popular demand into the stereotyped sadhu of flowering beatitude, passing a halos, uh, halcyon, Halcyon existence, and doling out benedictions in exchange for contributions. Nearly all people who approach sadhus seek peace, reassurance, and relief from the bruises of life, expecting blessings for solving their material problems and to facilitate unobstructed sense indulgence. Such individuals do not want or expect the sadhu to force his way into their phantasmagoria and reveal that their life to be in need of wholesale reform. But Srila Saraswati Thakur was a different grade of sadhu. Like a lotus who lives in water but remains above it, he moved in human society but was unaffected by it. Even numerous sadhus of his day, most of whom sequestered themselves from the world and its turbulence, could not understand his approach to spiritual life. He considered that his responsibility as a sadhu was to slash others' misconstructions. Although persons who lead serene lives of study and prayer but do not preach may be regarded as saintly, they cannot be compared to devotees who go out to confront all opposing elements and fight for Krishna. And even among preachers, many prefer to adopt a soft line, averting conflict by not disturbing others' false egos. Sadhus were expected to be mild and non-judgmental, avoiding causing annoyance to others and promoting concord by recognizing all opinions as equally tenable. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati deemed such liberalism another form of deception, a self-serving acceptance born of fear of retribution. In other words, refraining from pointing out others' misdoings lest oneself become subject to assessment. He parodied the hypocrisy inherent in such mutual social acquiescence by saying, "Men be cup, tum be cup. I'll be quiet, you be quiet." Srila Saraswati Thakur was not for sectarian coexistence, conciliation, or syncretism. His sole means for bridging the abyss between others and himself was to exhort them to come to his side. He spoke against mushy tolerance and nonsensical ideas in the name of ecumenism, which he anyway took as a nebulous and impossible dream, unless people were prepared to forswear miscellaneous rubrics of cheating religion and simply surrender unto Krishna. He, exp- he expostulated against the style of utopian consinity so cherished by worldly idealists who aimed at attuning all streams of human thought with an inclusive, tolerant, pluralistic, open-minded ethos in defiance of Krishna, as capsulized in Ramakrishna's catchy jingle, Yatamat Tatapat. All are approaching the absolute in diverse ways. Srila Saraswati Thakur countered this by stating that those who worship on assorted religious paths cannot possibly serve Bhagavan. He taught the real harmonizing is achievable only by aligning with Krishna, whereby everyone's actual self-interest would automatically be fulfilled, and that any other attempts for consentaneity, however seemingly noble, would merely engender further envy, rivalry, and competition, and thus were actually disjunctive and ungodly. So this goes on and on. This is a very wonderful book. You can get a very nice impression, darshan, meeting Srila Bhaktisiddhanta in this presentation. Many of his writings are here, and much detail about his life and activities. So I think I'll conclude at this time. Thank you very much, Marge. Would you like to say something? Okay. So we're very fortunate here in New York City. This is the place where Srila Prabhupada came first to execute the order of his spiritual master to preach in the Western world. And that alone is more than enough to inspire us with a transcendental pride that we are servants in this place, and what to speak of the uh, practical, accepted by everyone reality, how important New York City is. So the yatra is expanding and growing. Those of us who have participated uh, through the ups and downs and trials and tribulations here, we can all feel it. Something auspicious is happening. So, as Srila Prabhupada said, the secret of success is to serve the order of your spiritual master, and all facility will be there. So Srila Prabhupada, the extraordinary receiver and manifester of the incredible miracle of expanding Krishna consciousness that even ordinary people are amazed. I believe Srila Prabhupada is written up in the, the Guinness Book of World Records, amazing success for persons over 70. So some of us are nearing that age or over that age, but we have many young people. You are young. We will go. You will stay. Keep it going. And we can take over this city. We can take over the United States. We can take over the whole world and ultimately the entire universe. For the pleasure of Srila Prabhupada and Srila Prabhupada's beloved spiritual master, Om Vishnu Pad, Sri Srimad, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Sri Sri Radha Govinda Ki Jai, Jagannath Baladev Subhaja Devi Ki Jai, Sri Sri Gaurnitai Ki Jai, Giriraj Maharaj Ki Jai, Nitai Gaur Premanandi Hari Bol, Hare Krishna.